trying to get everyone. Oh, my bad. Are you in it? Nah, you're not in it. Now you in it. Well, you walking towards the camera. I'm not going further than this. Yeah, shut up. No. I'm gonna take it though. I don't know if it's in there. I can't do that. That is well, maybe I need to get part of it. I'm getting the house Christmas out of here. That's why I'm doing it. Last time I was like right there, right next to you. Oh, that's what it is. Where's the cookie again? I'm not, by the way. You're on camera. You just, now we talk about what I need to do is, yeah. You know the difference between these other cards between them? This card is released. Payment is satisfaction of a debt. This card. I'll bring it down. Is they gonna make this? That's not off the top of my head. Yeah. There's an etymology that's more good. But it's a plan for it. Okay. Alright, so also when you're dealing with that, look up UCC 3-604. You'll see that a creditor 2-604. You see that a creditor can discharge debt whenever they want. A creditor in trust law is the grantor. So when you're dealing with estate, like at the recorder of deeds, whoever on the mortgage, they'll have the grantor and the grantee. The strong name that's associated with us is listed as the grantor, meaning we're a creditor. And the bank, or whoever's acting like their owner, is listed as the grantee, meaning they're the administrator. So when you do 3-604, okay, the creditor can discharge whenever they want. They're the grantor. As an example, this is my book. You know that. Let's say this is my book. Right? I'm the grantor because I own it. I can give it to you and say, you have to give it back to me in 3 months. So now you're just administrator. Okay? Yeah. And then if I want it back, I just say, give it back. Okay? That's exactly how it works. Got it? So again, I sell my book for $60, and you want to buy it from me, I can say, hey, just take it. That's a good stuff. Because I'm the creditor. I wrote the book. I have copyrights to the book. I can print as many copies as I want. I'm the creditor. I wrote it. You understand? Got it? Positive? What doesn't make sense? I was trying to remember what number you said. Oh, UCC, which is Uniform Commercial Code. Yeah. That's 604. Yeah. And it deals with, discharging debt. Yeah. The creditor is discharging debt. So, Uniform Commercial Code is what the Union of State use to regulate commerce. So just because they use it doesn't mean it's bad. because it teaches you that a creditor can discharge debt whenever they want to get a creditor. You got it? So you don't have to necessarily say use 233 like 602. You can just say, since I'm a creditor, discharge that debt. You know what I'm saying? And then, huh? We are creditors. So once we realize that, oh, we were here first, and then we read the treaty of peace and friendship between us and the United States, you'll see that Europeans paid us. So therefore, we're the creditors. Another example, if I'm selling you my book, I'm the creditor, you're the debtor, you're paying me. Same thing with the treaties. When you read the treaties, they were paying us gold, splicing, weapons, winning, you know what I'm saying? So we're clearly the creditors. So they had to keep us with someone else, so we don't know that. Okay. So here's an example of the governor of Rhode Island discharging her mortgage to the Europeans. Mortgage means dead pledge. So the only way to own property is to have an allodial title. Yeah, I'll let you do that right now. So this is Black's Law Dictionary, revised 4th edition. Allodial title. You read it? Anyone read it?
Why? When they say allodial property is not real, like no one's ever seen an allodial title.
Allodial.
Allodial. Are you not holding of any board or superior owned without obligation of document or security? The opposite of yield. Barclay versus Satan.
So that's case law.
Yeah.
So case 3, not holding of any lord. No landlord. So if you're paying someone to be in your house, clearly you don't own it. You know what I'm saying? Then if you go to mortgage, then you see it's a mere lien, but they're not clearly charged to the state. It depends on down the road. It's fine. So most of our people are taught get a mortgage on a house. And they're not taught about allodial title. And then most of our people go for a real estate license, then you get introduced to allodial title because most of our people just going through a process of a good job and they may or may not think that they're helping someone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's it. I didn't know. So, and this is why the Europeans say, not you. Europeans say, those who do not use their common sense are to be treated as if they don't have any. So if in your head you're like, that doesn't make sense, but you still do it, then that's on you. That's like, hey, you want to buy this gold from me? Hey, you want to buy this gold from me? And then in your head you're like, well, that ain't gold, but then you buy it anyway. Yeah. That's your fault. Yeah. Yeah. It's still new. Yeah, so the lawyer will come down to you, treat you all kind, seem like he's your friend, and then love you. Found it? Art. Mortuary.
Mortuary is treated by the resilience, the athlete, it is formed by the ability to secure the performance of the past. Okay, the feelings of minority of the light by the blackness or some other system. If you become void, this act is performed in movement, the same size at the time of the responsibility. So what?
So, it's saying it's the securement of a debt. When you see the word obligation, it's saying debt. So let's say we're playing Joker and we're gambling $10,000 and then you win. And I can't pay you $10,000 up front. So then you'd be okay, I'll pay you $1 a month. And to ensure that I pay you $1 a month, I'll hold up my binder as collateral. So just imagine I'm saying my house is collateral. So if I pay you $1 a month, you get to get my house as collateral and then that 10,000 will be satisfied. Okay? So we think we're getting a house when we do a mortgage. So now the position is the bank is saying you owe them something and you put your house up as collateral. So what did they give you or where did the debt originate? So you have to put the house up as collateral. It doesn't exist. Because when you read the mortgage, it'll have the strong name that you think is you listed as the mortgagor, meaning you're the owner. You understand? So now they're going to you saying, well, you owe us money. Well, what do I owe you if you didn't give me anything?
Okay.
You understand?
So it's still have it.
No, you have it.
No, but so they have to have it.
No, you have to have it. So they're claiming that they gave you
Not
something.
going to pay it fully.
But it's look. They list you as the owner.
They list you as the owner.
They list you as the owner. Right? They never gave you anything. Yeah, because they never owned it. Because they don't even own the house. We do. So that's like.
You own the house because it's on the land?
Look at this.
You didn't make it.
Look at this. Look. Listen. Look at this. Give me a pen. Hey, you want to buy my pen?
Okay, you didn't make the pen.
No, it's his.
Yeah.
And now I'm saying, now all of a sudden I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So what you would ask is, well, show me the receipt where you got that pen. That's called chain of title. Exactly. Bill of sale. Chain of title. That's when the Europeans say, well, we got the deed of trust from the Indians. But a deed of trust is not ownership of property.
This is supposed to be and then that.
The goal is for everyone to understand not to be run on out to see no smart. You know what I mean? I'm the only one with knowledge and nothing else.
Some people really differently.
Oh, they say they can't hear us.
Now,
You can't buy land
We'll bring it
because
closer.
it belongs to the people of the land. You know what I'm saying? We are the ones to inherit it. We allow them to be here. You know, so we were like, all right, we'll move over. You can rent this, but it ain't yours.
So it's supposed to be the other way around.
Yeah, we're supposed to be charging them.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Alright, they can hear us way better now.
Oh, all right, cool. Over here eating brownies.
Sorry about that. Islam.
So again, with the pen situation, act like the pen's the house. If I want to sell you the pen or the house, I have to prove that I own it. As an example, if you want to take your car to Japan, you cannot get it through customs unless you have the manufacturer statement of origin. Because if you don't have that, that means you don't own it, so you can't take it out the country. Look it up. Look it up.
What?
The manufacturer statement of origin. So again, you can't sell the house if you're not the owner, right? Again, right?
They don't own the land, so they can't own the house.
Exactly.
And they
So
don't have the right to
they don't
sell
have the right to sell it.
Yeah.
So again, this is my binder. This is my binder, right? Hey, bro, you can use this for a month. And then during that month, he's trying to sell it to you. You can't because it ain't his.
But can't you still have something that you own on someone else's property?
No.
Can you have something that you own?
Like
on
if
someone
I
else's property?
like say if I own this
You're working some
toy
magic in your head.
and it's on his property.
So take your
Is it
toy.
now-
So you're saying
But
This
now,
is my
hold on,
house
but
and
now you're talking about
it's all-
movable instruments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, trailers, house on wheels. What about
Yeah,
that?
but where is it parked? Whose land is it on?
All the land is ours.
It's ours.
Sound
he's
good,
trying to
sound
make you
good. Mic
understand
test.
claim it
The
back.
land
One person at a
already
time.
belongs
One
to-
person at a
Oh,
time.
sorry.
No, you.
Yeah.
From what I'm understanding is we as Moors or Aboriginal of the land, this is already our land. So it's like somebody kind of coming in your house and selling you your own cup.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
But then you forgot it was your cup, so
you
they're able
forgot
to
that
do it.
was your
Oh,
cup.
okay.
So you kind of,
And have
you
to
know
pay
what I'm
taxes
saying?
on your
You
cup.
get what I'm saying? And you got to pay taxes on your own cup
Okay.
that belongs to you. You understand it now?
That should get you mad a little bit.
Yeah.
No reaction.
A lot of it. A little bit.
Oh, you got that on film.
Yup, you almost burning the book, all of that.
So you need to put
Careful with
Yeah,
the
you
law.
need
That was not
Careful with
burned.
Yo,
I don't think it's
please,
that.
yo.
All right, so
Yes.
back to this, right? So
Right, from what I'm understanding, that's what you're kind of
Yes.
like
I
explaining. It's kind of like
Exactly.
somebody walking in your own house and telling you, say, like you explained it yesterday. You kind of don't know that. You forget that this is your house over time. You know what I'm saying, from what you've been fed, and then they turn around and kind of say, oh, you know what, so this is this is the cup, but you got to pay extra on it. And then from what I'm understanding, it's kind of like you're paying extra fees onto, like, you know what I'm saying, buying the cup
and getting your resource. Oh, you want
kind
ice
of like
too?
the way you do.
You want ice too? Let me go to your fridge. Get your ice.
ice.
Oh yeah, it's $1.50 extra.
Extra more,
Yeah. That's everything. That's what they're doing with National Grid, the water, the sewage, all of that. That's why they had to think. That's why they had to make the original people think that they're from Africa, and then tell the other half that they're Indian and that most of their ancestors died. When really it's the same people. You know what I'm saying? And then European sociologists taught us to think that, well, because you speak a little different, we're not the same people because I don't speak your language. When people aren't identified by their language, they're identified by their bloodline. You know what I'm saying? So the Europeans know this, and here's an example of the governor of Rhode Island discharging her mortgage. She didn't pay it. She gave them $1 and said, get rid of this $200,000 mortgage. Get rid of this 30-year mortgage.
Like $1.
$1.
And
So-
people are paying $1,200 for a mortgage every month.
I'll pass it around. You'll see a true copy, Recorder of Deeds, Providence, Rhode Island, number 057388, received for the record. And you see it's embossed by them. Certified copy, July 11, 2018, book number 10245, page number 335. And then the front just verifies it, and you can see the seal impressed on it. So it has the loan number. It says release of mortgage. Does that sound like payment to you?
Says
Release of mortgage / deed of trust, where the grantor is releasing the duty of the administrator to the administrator. Does that make sense? So, all right, I'm the grantor. This is mine. You can administrate this, right?
Yeah.
And then we record it. He's administrating my binder. That's on the record. Then I do a release of trust or a release of a deed, and I say, okay, he's not in charge of my binder anymore.
Okay.
And I get it back
For $1.
for $1.
For $1.
Because if you're a trustee, if you're responsible for my stuff, I should pay you, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Same thing.
There's no way the bank should own your house, but
The
the
bank-
banks anyway
banks-
don't own shit.
Banks can't own things.
You know what I
The
mean?
banks
don't.
They
right?
don't own shit.
Property
The bank-
can't own
Almost a
property.
third party, and even
The
when-
bank is an empty vessel. This is a bank.
Mhm.
Then the people put their money into the bank,
Yeah.
and then the bank, the administrator of the bank just take care of it. That's it. And then the people take their money out. And then once the people take their money out, there's nothing in the bank. So how can the bank own anything?
Yeah.
The bank is a cup. You know what I'm saying? Don't mind the bun.
Yeah, I'm
The man
dead.
Dumpler.
So
But even naturally, for a lot of people that are like naturally trying to be more so aboriginal of the land or maybe, I always have the common sense that to know that your bank is always the third party in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Kind of between the owner and you, the buyer. It's the bank.
but
You get what I'm saying?
right now no one's really owning it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Because they've created a monopoly over everything we own. So let's go back to the story. So it says, know all men by these presents that the undersigned for and in consideration of the payment, because in consideration of the payment, it doesn't say payment. We'll consider it, but it don't say payment.
Payment.
Right? Of indebtedness secured by the cancellation of all the notes thereby secured in the sum of $1. So instead of in the consideration of payment, just give me anything. How's $1? Yeah, I'll take that.
Consideration of payment.
Right?
Yeah.
The receipt whereof is hereby acknowledged, does hereby remiss, release, satisfy, convey, and quit claim, release their claim, onto Andrew K. Moffett, who is the first gentleman of Rhode Island, and Gina M. Raimondo, who's the governor of Rhode Island. Tenants by the entirety. Heirs, aren't they European?
Yes.
So how they heirs in America? Legal representatives, successors, and or assignees, and assign all right, title, interest, claim, or demand whatsoever it may have acquired in, through, or by certain mortgage / deed of trust, bearing the date of February 18th, 2009, and filed for the record in the land records of the Township of Providence City in Providence County, State of Rhode Island, as instrument number 00004334 in book number 9344 at page number 163 on February 23rd, 2009. Property address 525 Elm Grove Ave, Providence, Rhode Island 02906. So this is public information. So I can just say this because I got it from the Recorder of Deeds, which is public. And testimony whereof the said Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems, Inc., acting solely as nominee, trustee, for Homestar Mortgage, Inc., so a trust in a trust, its successors and assigns, has caused these presents to be signed by its Assistant Secretary, dated April 10th, 2012, Mortgage Electric Registration Systems, Inc., acting solely as nominee, so again he's saying, us being a trustee for this trust, its successors and assigns, signs Abigail Rowe, Assistant Secretary, State of Florida, County of Duval, on April 10, 2012, before me, Laura Jean Golden, a notary public, personally appeared Abigail Rowe, who proved to me on the basis of satisfactory evidence to be the persons whose name is /are subscribed to the within instrument and acknowledged to me that he, she, they executed the same in his, her, their authorized capacities, and that by his, her, their signatures on the instrument, the persons or the entity upon behalf of which the persons executed the instrument. Is being very general. So it's saying, I'm here to witness that this person came to me on this behalf to handle this issue. That's all it's saying. So it's just saying he, she, they to cover everything.
Yep, that's it.
And then his, her, its, or whatever, you know what I mean? To cover to be general. So all you have to do is just type in that name, the date, that county, and then everything else is just a generic sentence. So they're making it easier for filing purposes. Not to type something up every single time. Alright, then I certify on the penalty of perjury. Meaning if this person denies any of this, they can be charged with perjury, which is treason. And they can be killed. So they have to admit, like, yeah, they discharged this mortgage for $1, they didn't pay nothing. So, I certify on the penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of Florida that the foregoing paragraph is true and correct. Witnessed by my hand and official seal, Notary Public, Laura Jean Golden. Laura Jean Golden, my commission number DD978816 expires April 5th, 2014. FloridaNotaryService.com. Want to put on video and throw the certification in the back, then pass it around. So this is the stuff that Moors are making up. This is stuff that Europeans already know and they already do. So our families are getting into $200,000 30-year mortgages, struggling to live paycheck to paycheck, while they're just like, well, we know this ain't really real. We know this ain't real money. We know these niggers don't know who they are, so they're going to pay us, so it doesn't really matter what we do. We'll go ahead and release this mortgage. For free. For free, no, $1. Use some rocks, whatever. Because it's not about money. Because they can print as much paper as they want, because it's not money.
So, my other question is, if you're not naturalized, like the way he is, I'm not, how do I handle a case in court? Then, don't I need someone who is naturalized to?
Well, that's part of nationalizing.
Understand what I'm saying?
Gaining competence, you know what I'm saying? Because, so, as an example, when I first started learning this stuff, I went to rvbaypublications.com. I seen some of their writs, and they have it set up so where you can just put in your information. I read it first. It didn't make sense to me at first, but I read it anyway. I put in the information, I sent it. So I didn't really know what I was doing, but I understood I need to fight back. So that was like, I started by doing that. Then I realized, oh, I get how this works now. Then I started writing my own stuff. You know what I'm saying? So there's stuff out there that you can use to help you while you're learning. But just know that this isn't a trial and error thing. This is either you know or you don't.
Yeah, because you're gonna go in court and know what you're talking about. And kind of sell yourself.
But the goal. So initially, you know, most people go to the so-called state level courts.
Because I've been there, they don't want to hear you.
They can't hear you.
They can't hear you.
They can't.
I've been talking there yet. It's like
Yeah, because
you know?
if you start if you start standing up and fighting for yourself, those other people who don't want to be there and don't want to be robbed and know these people are corrupt, they're gonna be like, oh shit,
yeah,
I can fight for myself too.
The whole courtroom is quiet. You know, they can see, yo, whatever he's fucking talking, he's late. So, you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to hear, so he's gonna take numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. For somebody who's not nationalized like you are, you take somebody else to get it. You know? Because now you're two.
Listen.
I was 3 or 4.
Hold on.
Oh, my bad, it's my phone.
So this person right here, she was facing obtaining money on the false pretenses. She wasn't necessarily nationalized at that time, like nationalized, like completely nationalized. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can never be completely nationalized, so you're still always learning. You know what I'm saying? Then nationalizing is having the people with you, right? So she was facing obtaining money on the false pretenses, and she came to me for assistance, and I just explained what I could explain at the time. Then we put an affidavit together, and she didn't necessarily claim to be Moorish, but she was studying. You know what I'm saying? So we just challenged everything that they said.
Yeah.
There's our thumbprints. You know, I was clearly declared, so you see Bay on mine.
Yeah.
Right? I gave her the information. I told her what to say. She stood on that, and we got the case dismissed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, now.
And then another situation with Tuza, he went to court. All he did was read what I told him to read.
Yeah.
And whenever the so-called judge tried to get him off of what I told him to read, he was like, I'm just here to read this. Pretty much. He didn't say that word for word, but I'm just here to tell you this is my evidence. Why are we talking about anything else?
That is the most simplest way of helping somebody. Because not everybody who's gonna have a case is gonna come stand at the whole.
Yeah, but we're
You know
not.
what I'm saying?
I'm personally not interested in fighting for someone else's right. I'll give you the information so you can fight for yourself, but I'm not gonna fight for you.
I know what you're saying. But I'm saying it's not everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, but
there's some people you gotta help out.
Yeah, I know. But
so that it can work out and then their mind is
yes.
you know.
Yes. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But fight for them, can't do it.
You can't fight for them.
Yeah, no.
Because you can't represent their life.
Everybody gotta fight for
You still have to be competent, because if you're not if you're not competent, you go to court, they're not gonna hear what you're saying.
Yeah. You wanna pass that? You see it?
First one to see it.
Any other questions?
So for us, I always ask this question. For some of us, like I'm from Africa, coming from Africa, and then we have our papers set up, and you know what I mean. How do we really go about doing this?
Well, write this down if you can. I'll read it actually. I have it right here. All things.
So what about lands that was taken because of taxes and resold? Can they be
can
reclaimed?
At any moment. Meaning their ability to even tax you and even take the land in the first place, that can be challenged. But chances are you just left. Meaning you abandoned it.
Yeah.
So what kind of what you're talking about is citizenship, right?
Necessary citizenship, because I always told myself I never really wanted to be a citizen in this country because I wanted to go back home, and I know how this is. A lot of people don't, even though I never really, but I've heard about, the process and what they really go through. And being an African, automatically when you go and do your citizenship, you're denouncing your own country. And for some of us, I want to go back home and do business. We're not being respected as I would not be respected in my country as a Liberian or anything. I would actually, you know what I'm saying? Because
So-
I just you didn't literally denounce your own
So
country.
normally, how
to
it
become
how it
American.
would normally work in a regular civilization is you wouldn't have to denounce. Since it's being occupied by foreigners, they force you to.
My point
To
to
be
do
their
your
servant.
citizenship, you
Yeah.
gotta denounce your country. And
Yeah.
some of us are thinking in the long run of going to kind of try to open businesses and stuff like that. You're not gonna be respected. So before I heard about this, I was actually looking into just dual citizenship, and and I was telling him that some of the Liberians from way back in the day actually used to do this and have a citizenship driver license to where they can go anywhere in the country and they're respected in that country and they're able to drive and kind of like live their life and do them. So
Yeah. But so the problem with that is the United States can't grant anyone citizenship because this ain't their land. You know what I'm saying? So you'd have to go to the people of the land to get citizenship, which is us. You know what I mean? So that's what I was about to read to you. The General Civil Orders of June 10, 2014. So to answer your question is, you pretty much have to wait for us to wake up.
in a sense, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you have to help us wake our people up. Like, oh yeah, I'm Liberian. Yeah, the Moors are right here. You know what I mean? Because a lot of black people think that they're African. So if an African's telling them, nah, you're from here, then maybe they'll wake up faster.
I think the movement is going to continue. Yeah, like yesterday, you guys kept talking about Westmoreland in Jamaica. Yeah, there's a key about there somewhere. It's going to come along somewhere down the road. It's going to move. You know, once you see the people over here, the American, the black people over here, like it's going to hit Africa. Like he was explaining the other day, he was explaining, I don't know how many miles from the equator that all of that. It's all going to come to play at the point. You know?
So, this is the General Civil Orders of June 10, 2014 dealing with citizenship.
Okay.
It's very lengthy, so I'm going to skip to this paragraph. It says, because these states and federal entities, meaning the Europeans acting like the government and acting like the Americans, have all functioned under conditions of non-disclosure and semantic deceit, serving to promulgate fraud upon the organic states, meaning the people, and the American people, meaning the people. They are all to be considered criminal syndicates to the extent that they have been aware of their status and have failed to correct their operations and representations. All contracts held by these organizations, or assumed to be held by these organizations, are null and void for fraud. These contracts include, but are not limited to, contracts for sale, for labor, for trade, citizenship contracts, power of attorney, licenses, mortgages, registrations, and application agreements of all kinds. All signatures of American state citizens acting under the influence of semantic deceit and non-disclosure are rescinded. So there's a difference between an American citizen and a United States citizen. Mexicans are American citizens or American nationals. Brazilians are American citizens or American nationals. National supersedes citizens. You know what I'm saying? So any true American citizen doesn't have to deal with the United States because they're a de facto fraudulent entity. So the problem is teaching our people this stuff so we can administrate our own government again. And then we can say, okay, then we say who can and can't be citizens. Because the United States only has de facto power. Meaning since we won't do it, they're doing it.
So if I was to go after being nationalized, I think that you don't have to worry about.
Well,
I think the best way to answer that is just going to operate over here. You're going to get nationalized over here. You know, just be worried about you being here, you know, before you get worried about Africa.
No, I'm not
Say it again.
necessarily Africa. I'm not necessarily thinking about Africa. I'm looking at it as being an immigrant. You get what I'm saying? Some of us are come on refugee status and how our papers is set up. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, but they're set up deliberately like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So now knowing how when you're going to become a national, because like from what I've understood with class with Leon, you're kind of like from your driver license to everything, you're kind of like denouncing it. So I'm just trying to say, would it be harder for some of us coming from another country, you know what I'm saying, and having to go through
No, it's just
writing
it's
this paper?
just as
Would
hard.
it be the same process? Or the same?
Well, yeah, it is the same
That's
process.
what I'm just
It's
where I'm
the same
coming
process.
from. Like that's what I'm saying. Is it going to be a discrimination, or is it going to be harder for some of us? You know what I'm
It
saying?
shouldn't be.
Due to how our papers are set up, or
No, it
compared to
shouldn't be
you
because-
that was born here, where you came. You know
Because
what?
all of their contracts are fraud. All of them. So there is no difference because they're treating us the same. They're just calling it a different process.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to comprehend. So is basically your birth certificate from here in America compared and my birth certificate from
It's the same
Africa
thing.
is the same thing. That's what
Because
I'm
in
trying to
Liberia, the laws are written here.
Right.
yeah, that's
So
that's
there's
what
no
I'm trying-
difference.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
just trying. That's what I'm trying to comprehend.
I think that the simplest way is like the Morocco Treaty.
Yeah.
Before Rwanda that.
Yeah, the Empire of Morocco. Yeah. Because the empire consists of many nations, many countries, and many
So the
kingdoms
treaty protects
agreeing.
you no matter,
Say again?
the treaties protect you no
Yeah.
matter, no
But
matter
you have to call yourself a Moor
Yeah.
Yeah.
in order
For
for
that
that
treaty to
work.
be
To
able
protect
to
you.
correct.
Because if China and Japan have a treaty together, and you don't claim to be Japanese or Chinese, then you're not a party to that treaty. You know what I'm saying?
Who are the Dhaka peoples?
Asking me?
The what people?
Dhaka.
Dakar.
DACA.
DACA. They might be spelled CA, but you might be if it's Dhaka, yeah. Who are they? Are they African?
Yeah, because I know Dakar is in Sudan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone asked. Someone said,
Dakar.
tell Omi Liberty, don't forget Dhaka peoples. Touch on that, please.
Oh, if it's the DSCA, it's the people who come here, I think when they are young children and their parents are here and they're born here.
Oh, that's
That's
the movement that is supposed
yeah,
to
for
protect,
children with their parents.
the
Not
one
like,
that-
for instance, Baba and I. Sime came as a student, but I've given birth to Baba.
Well, I get what you're talking about.
You're saying that's the Dakar.
Like people that came and gave birth to
Yeah.
kids that were born here.
Yeah.
like whatever Trump is trying to
He's trying to
With the
erase.
separations of children and
Oh,
sending
okay.
people
Yeah,
to
so
go
that's
back.
like something children, something.
So it sounds like you're talking about just so we, where if your child's born here, they're considered a citizen.
Yes,
It's called just so we, meaning the right of soil.
yes.
JUSSOLI. It's right in the logo if you want to look it up. But not every country has just so we citizenship.
So now that brings to us, personally, I came here as a student, and there are things that there's some bullshit that comes along with it. Failure to attend a semester, your status is revoked. So now what's gonna happen now? Now since I'm a Moa.
Well, we had the lecture with Cujo 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. And he said if they're forcing you, if you need to use a straw name, use it and reserve all of your rights. Because right now they're still in power
Right.
until we wake up. So part of this is getting the information so we can administrate our own free national government. But until that happens, at least you know how to protect yourself. So they can't screw you over, you get what I'm saying? So by signing contracts and reserving your rights, you're not answerable to certain things because you know. You know what I'm saying? You sure? No? Alright. So, let's say I want to go to college.
Right.
And they say, well, in order to come to this college, you have to have social, give me all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I know I'm a Moor, but they're forcing me to do this, so I'm just going to give them that information and put all rights reserved. You know what I'm saying? Because I already know that they're not giving me anything. So when they try to collect so-called student loans from me, I can argue with them. Like, well, I signed this contract, all rights reserved, meaning I can't be forced to pay you in private commercial paper, so you can fight them later. You know what I'm saying? So it's accepting the process for now because we're forced to, but being able to defend yourself later.
So we basically have to know how to sign the paperwork. So instead of us just signing how we used to sign, we have to sign
You have to,
with the
yes.
all rights reserved and
Yeah,
the
so
rest
you
of
have to sign it
Yeah.
knowing that
Actually,
you're
you know,
protecting yourself.
just
Yeah.
give you. I went to court and somebody told me, you know what? You can just put a Mickey Mouse,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Mickey Mouse face. You
Yeah.
didn't sign that shit,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? A lady told me that in court actually.
Mm-hmm.
A crack in court told me you can just put a Mickey Mouse face on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could, you know. They,
Yeah.
yeah. So
But the issue is that name is attached to a social. That social has an address, a bank account,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and then chances are you have that ID with that name on it, so they can get you.
But as long as you, just like you said, you gotta know so that you can come back and defend
Yeah.
yourself. If you don't sign a contract, it doesn't pertain to you.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, exactly, and that's where that's where
The only
knowing
way
that you're not
the only
it
way the
comes in.
contract is gonna pertain to you is that signature on your license and the signature you put on it. So if you don't sign for it.
Yeah, but they'll still use the name
It
that's
links
on.
back.
The name that's on it still
It
kind
all
of
links
directs
back,
back to you
unless we
in
use
a
our
sense,
strong
even
Only-
if you might not have signed it, but
Only if you
it doesn't mean
identify
the
it
clerk
as it.
didn't put James so and so on the top. It's
But
there.
once you naturalize and you come back, you know,
Yeah, but part of nationalizing is knowing that you're not it.
yeah.
Right.
It's just they need us to agree to be it, so they could administrate everything. Meaning so they can do everything that they're doing right now.
Remember that clip we watched? It was like the same thing he was arguing.
Yeah.
Like once you're naturalized and your name is different, that the other name doesn't pertain to you in any way. You should-
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's when you get national.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Once you get
Okay.
nationalized, that's what the same point. Like you can come back and fight them later.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah.
So until our people wake up, until we're not in a basement and we're in a seminar room, 500 chairs,
Yeah.
and we got our own, community where everyone owns their own houses. This is what we got to do.
So what basically you saying, like some of us are in a system,
All of us are in the system.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a student, I want to go back to school. I work as an LPN. So my license will be expiring soon. So still keep the Catherine name?
So you have the right to contract. So if you need that license to live your life, then that's what you need to do. But it's unlawful because they're forcing you to do it. So you just need to know that. You get what I'm saying?
So in a sense, do what you gotta do now.
Yes.
Go
Until-
through the process of
But know what you're doing.
know what
Because
yeah.
before we've been doing it, not knowing what we're doing.
So now that you know what you're doing, you
Yeah.
kind of can read in between the lines. You know where you're getting set up. But regardless, certain
Don't give
things
away your
we're
rights.
gonna
Yeah.
Still sign
Take
all
your
rights
rights.
reserved.
All rights
still
reserved.
sign all rights reserved.
So when they try to do the process
Even
you
though
the
you're not
same way,
nationalized,
they can't.
still.
And let me make this point. Once you represent yourself in court, be very careful about that. Because they always ask you,
Yeah.
are you going to represent yourself? It's like they know something you don't know, you know? So they know all your rights are reserved to you. That's why they try to force you to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
And sometimes it kind of it's kind of on your competency level too. You know,
No, it's not kinda,
they
it's
write
all-
on they write all
it's
on
all
our
predicated on
competency
that.
level. So, like when it came to when Leon was giving a class on like the two boys were watching and their how they were going to court, and there is you have to understand Slavics already believe that we people of color. That's why you guys always stress read. They don't believe we can read, so they're looking at you like your
They know we can't read.
They're looking at you like your competency level, and then the fact that we already discovered that words has been changed, dictionary. So half of what you're saying is kind of more selling yourself to them than kind of saving your saving yourself. So sometimes when they're saying what they're saying is kind of making the process easier for you.
Go to color. You call us people of color, so now we gotta see.
Oh God,
Because-
a hue.
No, read it.
I know,
Say
I
it.
know,
Read it.
I know,
Read
I
it.
know, I know. There was a good time.
Read it.
Listen,
You said it.
myself.
You said it.
I dug myself.
Yep. Dig yourself out.
I did.
Because just like you said, competency.
Yes,
If
competency.
you go in there and then say, I'm a person of color,
I'm
they'll
not
be
a
like,
person
okay, you're a
of
fucking
color.
idiot, we got you.
Yeah.
It's
One second.
basically kind of being able to use your words so you need to start talking like this and how can we
Use our
I
words
can't wait no more.
properly.
Yeah, because practice
Properly.
make perfect.
That's what I'm
We-
saying.
we
Practice make perfect. Cause
And we're around
yeah.
each other. We practice. We strengthen each other when we do this. It's just strengthening. It's nothing to be looked at like, oh, you're changing. You're getting stronger. You're getting stronger.
Mentally.
And if y'all do it faster, we gonna follow
I'll
faster.
let you know when I get there.
Do you need any help?
Where you confused at?
Sorry.
You can tell, right?
You're
Sorry.
trying to put it all together and something's not clicking.
Exactly. with the now if I'm to get my ID from a country in Kenya, you gotta have a passport. I don't care. They will not admit you in my country without a passport. So is it wise if my Kenyan ID and my Kenyan passport, I put the names now that I'm having January?
Yes, you have the right to do that.
I have the right
If
to
that's what
do
you're
that.
gonna go by, yes.
Yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's gonna get stuck over the immigration line.
Well, that's where you show them the name correction papers.
My proclamation.
Yeah, well, oh, I corrected my name, that's why you have something else.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Alright. Okay.
See, now it's clicking.
Yes. Okay.
And then that's what we were saying.
That's
Remember
the
we
part
said
you
we needed to go
couldn't
get it notarized
Color.
again.
Huh?
We
One person.
said we needed to go get our thing notarized again. Our proclamations,
You
remember
mean
all
get
that?
it notarized again?
He said, I
Yeah.
asked somebody, he said,
We don't need to get it notarized again? Okay.
What do you mean?
he notarized it.
So we only need one notary on it?
No.
Well, it's sealed, meaning it was done before a government, so governments recognize government, so they're supposed to recognize it.
Such a
But
good
you
sign.
can go to the recorder of deeds or the notary public and get it notarized. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying?
Another question I had. So I was on this girl's page the other day, and her passport said Mercer County passport, which is weird because Mercer County is in Jersey. That it makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I heard.
And she traveled to Jamaica.
So-
with it. Said
so,
Mercer County passport. It didn't say United States nowhere on her passport.
What I've been hearing is that with the Real ID
Wow.
Act,
Did she went to Jamaica with it?
Yeah, she just got back. So I'm kind of confused why it said Mercer County passport instead of, United States and then Mercer County, but it just said Mercer County.
so what I've been hearing with the Real ID Act is that with the European property now, they're not accepting driver's licenses as IDs
Yeah.
at certain airports.
Yes.
So now they're just doing that, but it's still a fraud.
To on their side.
Yeah.
Because like in
Okay.
Mass now, you can get a ID that you can use as a traveling ID, as a passport, that you don't have to actually get a passport.
Yeah.
That's
So
what they're
that's
trying
the
to
real
implement
ID
to
then.
get.
Yeah,
No,
but
like
it's still
yeah.
fraud. It's like saying,
That's not the standard ID. The standard ID
It's not the standard one, it's a different one that you have to pay extra for.
Well,
They-
but with
the
something
real-
like
no, it's
that,
called the real ID. Because that one now you can,
Yeah, but
you
it's
can be able to
fraud.
go to whatever they're calling it. But that one now you can be able to go to the federal government. With the standard ID, you cannot even.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. That's the new ID they have. So you can choose which one you want.
yeah,
You
but
don't
it's,
have to get that
And you
one.
see, that's why they trapped most
but
people.
for stuff like that, I'm looking at it for
They all-
in-state.
it's all
I'm thinking more
I
of
know,
on
but I'm
in-state
saying, you see
travel.
where they trapped people
You get
what I'm
saying?
with that stupidity?
yeah.
And
Yeah,
now,
but most people don't know.
exactly.
Because I feel like this
Yes,
with
yes,
something
yeah,
like that, I
trapped
feel
in
like
there.
there's a limitation to it. The way how the system works and how my mind think, it would
But
literally
this is
be
why-
in-state something
Yeah, but it's
where
all-
you can travel out
it's
of country.
all
You would
restricted.
It would just be kind of like that kind of passport, kind of like your basic airport from here to Texas or your basic from here to Georgia. Not necessarily from here to out of the country. I don't. For them
Yeah,
to issue
yeah.
something like that, this restriction on it would not. I don't think kind of like necessarily, let you step out of the country with stuff like that, depending on how the system is looking and what they've been cracking down on, how the
We
laws
don't
and
care
rules
about
change
their
everything.
system. We're here to destroy the system.
So
Yes,
we here
of
to
course.
step on their
We are
system.
breaking it. That's our job, is to break it.
it's already broken. Our job is to expose it.
Yep.
So again, here's the.
Is it fully
I found my color.
It is fully broken. Check it. This is the plane ticket that I got to go from so-called Rhode Island to so-called Florida, and look at the name. I'm showing you my ID. It's not no so-called state ID. It is a state ID because it's from us. We're a state of people, meaning a group of people bound together by common law. So this is a real ID from a state. It's a Moorish ID, and it has my free national name on it, the same name on that plane ticket, and that's the ID I showed to get on that plane. Now that's so-called domestically, because any other American country is domestically American. You know what I'm saying? The issue is the Europeans acting through the United States Corporation Company is administrating all of the so-called ports, meaning the airports and the seaports. So they're putting restrictions on it.
Yeah.
That's why I brought up before, y'all are Maroons, there's a Maroon town in Jamaica, as Maroons in Florida, how about we talk to each other and open up a port from so-called Florida to Maroontown to avoid the Europeans? But that takes major logistics, and that takes teaching the people what their rights are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a possibility, but then the logistics and getting the manpower, getting the people and the minds behind it, that's completely different. But
So this, go ahead.
but that's where the rights of indigenous people come into play, where it says that the Europeans are obligated to help us do things like this. But if we don't demand it, guess what happens? They're not going to do it. So if a bunch of us think that we're black and whatever, then we can't enforce our rights.
Yeah.
Because one person talking, hey, we're Moors, all right, shut that guy up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
About what?
Where you put, where it says ancestral estate or south central, can you elaborate?
Oh, ancestral estate?
Can you elaborate a little bit more?
So
about
estate is land, hereditaments.
that? No, I'm saying like why you got it on there like that, like.
Oh, this is how they
Yeah,
ID.
one after.
This is how they make the ID.
Okay.
So ancestral state, North, South, Central America. But America is also known as Amexem,
Okay.
and it's also Africa.
Okay.
That's why it says all of that.
Okay. So is this that's your national?
Yeah, it says nationality right there.
Yeah.
Moorish American. So if you go to any other country, they have their own nationality cards to prove who they are. You know what I'm saying? So every nation has this.
Yes.
It's just the United States doesn't, because everyone's their servant, everyone's their property.
Yeah, because our Kenyan ID
This
is
is-
like,
yeah.
yeah.
That one.
So that's on record.
And actually,
So
you
any
see
so-called
it.
black people
You
claim
see
to be
how they-
African.
Did you look at the whatever
The one.
Huh?
the paper for this the one that
With the case dismissed?
No, the mortgage.
The
Layla, look at it. The mortgage,
mortgage
the
is
$1.
no, they did.
No, I don't think she looked at it.
Oh, she did. Oh, you didn't look at it? The mortgage discharge? I think I did show you that. One of the class you
Okay, you came to class with me.
Yeah.
And then sorry? No.
Oh, read it.
It's all the way back. You might need to stand up.
I showed how she discharged her thing for $1.
For $1.
She stopped paying her mortgage for $1.
While they over here talking about putting your neck for 30 years. And if you behave yourself, they can try to cut down for 15 years. She got ready for $1 yesterday.
It's on the mall. Yeah. Islam powerful. What up, folks?
Be careful with that in the books.
Oh yeah.
Please, very careful.
Please, close the
God
book.
damn it, I'll get
Somebody
Yes,
commented.
sir.
He said, "Keep in mind to ask these
sir.
Europeans what their
I've been waiting.
nationality."
I found my color.
Oh, you didn't find? Oh,
Somebody else
That's
commented
what I'm saying,
said,
man.
"You blacks are holding stuff up for Moors."
My thing is this. The
Oh,
reason-
let her read color because she said we were colored people.
oh,
She doesn't.
Yeah, I guess I said
Oh,
dug
snap.
myself in a hole. Yeah.
oh, dang.
Put your dust cap on.
Oh.
Shut up. An appearance, semblance, or
Simulacrum?
simulacrum as distinguished from which is real, a prima facie or apparent right. Hence, a deceptive appearance,
Deceptive.
a deceptive appearance, a possible assumed exterior concealing a lack of reality, a disguise or a pretext. Railroad pole versus
So that's
outfit.
the case though. So what does color mean?
Deception.
Fake, right?
Yes.
So are we fake people? All right.
And right
lack,
there,
lack of reality.
and that right there where it said prima facie, where they pronounce it here in Turtle Island, you go a little bit east southward, they pronounce it facie. So that's where you hear the Jamaicans say, "I want to the facie,"
Yeah.
and we still say that till this day. And we use it the same way that definition is telling you what it is.
Burning the books.
So they just give $1, that's it?
A
Yep.
dollar,
For a man.
99 cents.
Because I'm guaranteed to see you in the mansion.
99
and I guarantee you
cents.
it wasn't gold, so it wasn't a dollar. It was a piece of paper.
She def brought 99 pennies.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then one in the roll, Def brought in the roll.
This is the same way. You come from a British colonized country. This is the
Last
same
one.
background for the stuff,
Mhm.
the land, the
The
way.
bottom one.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Makes a lot of sense. That's why I told
Someone-
you to look at it.
Someone wants to know the difference between reparation and redress.
From what?
Reparations.
and redress.
Reparations in that word, the
Well, the word reparations means to repair a nation. Right, let's go to redress. Why don't we just look it up?
Yeah.
Just look it up.
You only want to
Oh yeah, you can look it up. Redress.
Somebody commented, "What is freedom strategies?"
What is freedom strategies? Read.
Mm.
Standing on your square.
Read.
Somebody
Reading is the
just
best
commented,
strategy.
"Hello, are you Muslim?"
Muslim as in like
Muslim?
Muslims? Yes.
Yeah.
Muslim is in like pray 5 times a day? No.
redress the receiving satisfaction for an injury sustained.
Somebody said Islam, Michigan Republic.
Peace.
Read redress again?
Receiving satisfaction for an injury sustained.
So
That's redress.
where reparations is the rebuilding of a nation, redress is receiving satisfaction for an injury sustained, someone getting hurt.
So it's similar.
Yeah. They have similarities.
The person commented, he said blacks want reparation and Moors want redress.
No.
I don't
Moors
see
want
how.
reparations. Because how can you repair the black nation if black's not a nation?
Say it again?
How can you, so reparations means to repair a nation.
Yes.
Is black a nation?
No,
No. So how can you repair the black nation if it's not a nation?
exactly.
That's what keep on getting in our minds. It's black.
Yeah.
It's black thing.
is a
They got everybody stuck to this
Black
being
power.
black.
When we need to look up the word black and know the meaning of what we're saying. We're not bleak. I look in the mirror and I sure know I'm not bleak. Last time I checked. Or bleach. We just gotta do a little reading. Put a
Don
little
Campos
reading
Bay
that's gonna
said,
give
right,
confidence.
Jamal.
I'm a firm believer in when you know better, you do better. So if we learn the word black, goes all the way back to the word bliak, right? Or blaic, and it means pale, shining, burning, the color of soot or coal, right? Why? So now that I know better, I'm gonna do better. So I know that these pearls on my hand right here, these are black. So everybody still wants to run around and be this or be this, right? Because this is black or bleak right here. I'm all set. I know that copper or amber or ebony is the spectrum of which they would like to refer to me as or refer to us as. So that's why reading is good. These are the words that you need to know that they bury from us. Ebony is the original, that's a color, ebony, if you want to get connotative. So we could be ebony people. And then if you go check the laws and everything in the books, there's no place for, there's no land Ebedonia. Or ebony. It's just a term to say that looks like. But we're definitely not gonna get nothing done with terms. We gotta get to the what? The nitty gritty. We gotta get to the meat, flesh. So the law and what these words mean and how to use them is the basics. I don't know why everyone's still worried about who wants to be bleak. I don't know why that once I learned that, I knew better, did better, put that behind me. There's so much more to do. Like, how do we still be stuck on that? I can't, for the life of me,
You
I
got
can't figure it
Oxford's
out.
dictionary here?
Yes, I do.
You want to bring up black and more?
Yes.
Because now you're talking about the difference between an adjective and a noun. So you're saying ebony can describe something, which is an adjective.
Yeah.
And now is a name.
A noun,
Um,
person, place, and thing.
Object.
Jamal.
You
Yes.
name it.
Somebody asked, anything you recommend to look up at Library of Congress?
Yeah, you can look up, like, you can go to libraryofcongress.gov, their website, and look up, like, newspapers on the coup of 1861. And they'll tell you that there was an
Yeah.
overthrow in 1861. That's something to look up.
Yeah.
Because people still think that the Europeans are government here, and then the Asiatics acting as black are government, and then they think that there's a Democratic Party and a Republican Party, when in the Constitution it never mentions a democracy once. But then when you go to libraryofcongress.gov and look up the coup of 1861, they'll tell you exactly who overthrew the Union of Colonies.
So what was the newspaper?
Huh?
What was the newspaper zone?
Oh, Library of Congress. I have one right here.
Somebody said abundance Moors.
No, I didn't bring it up.
Peace.
Okay.
Peace.
Hold on, let me find this real quick.
All right. Hold it right here, 'cause I'm gonna go upstairs.
So here's an example. This is from congress.gov. In this search, the Daily Register, the Wheeling newspaper, Wednesday, July 6, 1864, volume 1, number 295. They'll tell you right here, a terrible plot discovered. It is stated on very good authority in Washington City that Mr. Stewart has prepared a grand coup to demolish the Democratic Party and re-elect Mr. Lincoln. He has invented a splendid plot, which is to be exposed, of course, in due time, going to show that the democracy are involved in a vast conspiracy to smash things generally. Then when you look up the etymology of democracy, demo means to destroy, like demolition. So demo means to destroy, and ocracy means power. It is said that 1,000 pages of evidence is going to prove the existence of this terrible conspiracy, and has been submitted to Mr. Lincoln, and that a well-known general once respected has lent his name to a time of nonsensical slander upon members of the Democratic Party. It is no secret that a vast system of espionage has been organized all over the North, and proofs will soon be forthcoming that the mails are regularly tampered with to find evidence, if possible, against persons who are inimical to the administration. So they're clearly saying that there was an overthrow. Clearly. So clearly, since there was an overthrow and the people never took their positions back, that the current people administrating the government are still de facto and they have no lawful power, and they're the same criminals that overthrew the Union. So anything that they do, they can't lawfully do it. That's why they need us to agree, they need our signatures, because that's how they operate. So that's something you can find at the Library of Congress. Want to pass this around?
Oh, yeah, it's good, boy.
Jesus Christ. See how tiny it is?
Yeah, this is good. But I'm good too. I just found it.
Also, if you go to Library of Congress, you can get HR 5404, which you can just go to congress.gov again, type this in, and it's the 115th Congress, second session, 2018, March 22nd, 2018, which is the day after the New Year.
So librarycongress.com is
.gov, G-O-V, yeah.
Everything small letters?
It doesn't matter, because just typing it in. And you'll see that the Europeans admitted that they caused the Great Depression, and that the value of the United States purchasing power dropped by 96%. Their purchasing power dropped by 96%. Yeah. That's why they were doing the cash for gold thing, because they stole all the people's wealth.
Yeah.
The gold is real money.
I know that. I figured that out when they was doing it. I said,
So I'll read it. I'll read it. So this is this current Congress. Currently, this is March 22nd, 2018.
Current Congress?
Yeah.
These dudes now?
Yeah. This is 2018. In the House of Representatives, March 22nd, 2018, Mr. Mooney of West Virginia introduced the following bill which was referred to the Committee on Financial Services. The bill to define the dollar as a fixed weight of gold, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Section 1, the findings, so the cause. This is why they're trying to do it. The United States dollar has lost 30% of its purchasing power since 2000, and 96% of its purchasing power since the end of the gold standard in 1913. So it lost its power because in order to buy something, your currency has to be backed by gold. So since they stopped using the gold standard, their purchasing power dropped. That's why they've been waging war ever since, to keep their so-called dollar in power.
And covering it up with bullshit media.
That's why Gaddafi was trying to get Africa on one form of energy.
And they brushed it.
Meaning the Africans agree that they're only going to do business with Africans. Which is what we're supposed to be doing.
Because that's what was agreed with the Pan-Africa back in the day with Kwame Nkrumah, Nelson Mandela, and then Gaddafi himself, Gamal Abdel Nasser, who was it, Samuel Toure, and then all of them were involved. Even our President Jomo Kenyatta, Julius Nyerere, all of them were involved with the Pan-Africanism. Not only with the currency, but also with one language, and Swahili was voted as the national language of Africa. Why those wheels were not set into motion?
I bet you there was a coup. Just look up any of our nation's history, and there's always a coup, meaning an internal overthrow, backed by the United States and backed by other European powers, so that they stay in power because they've placed their little nigger minions in charge. You know what I'm saying? And they control them. So I'm glad that everyone realizes that this affects every country, not just you.
You're gonna think about it deeply. Like, if the East African countries was to be one, then they will have to select one currency. And what will this currency be? Because it can be the form of.
That's what they wanted with gold.
Yeah, but
So they're gonna use gold.
That's what Gaddafi.
Yeah, but-
That's why Gaddafi was emphasizing on the gold.
Yeah.
Because we have gold and
It's
oil in our
gold-backed currency. So what it used to be here, it used to be gold certificates. Meaning if you turn in that certificate, you get gold. That's the same thing that they were trying to do. It's the same thing. Which is the same thing JFK was trying to do. That's why they killed him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was
That's
given
it,
that
yeah.
land
He
by
was trying to bring back the
Selassie.
gold standards. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they shot him in the head.
And that was, I think, days after he had met with Selassie. Days after he met with Selassie, because I remember Selassie flew in here. And he met with, and he even enlightened him about this invisible government. He enlightened him on that. So when he made that speech, part of his speech was from the words that Selassie I told him. And they were like, okay, this man, we cannot have him. He cannot be influenced by someone from a third world nation. And this is a super nation. But even JFK from the word go, he wasn't for it. Even so when Selassie now came, it's like he sealed the you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, for real, what I was thinking, it's true. So I haven't been crazy, because here comes someone who's not in my territory, but he's saying things that I've been thinking, things I've been telling the people around me. And then and then they for real, his speech was
Powerful.
Yeah, very.
He said you can't fool an informed people. You can't. Right? So that was number one. Number two is, under the Federal Reserve's 2% inflation objective, the dollar lost half of its purchasing power every generation for 35 years. Because it's a fraud. American families need long-term price stability to meet their household spending needs. Remember you was talking about earlier how 1 month the electric bill was low, and then the next month it was just high out of nowhere.
Crazy.
That's not stable.
Shake you up.
save money and plan for retirement. The Federal Reserve policy of long-term inflation, meaning robbery, has made American manufacturing uncompetitive, raising the cost of the United States manufactured goods by more than 40% since 2000, compared to less than 20% in Germany and France. Between 2000 and 2010, the United States manufacturing employment shrunk by 1/3 after holding steady for 30 years at nearly 20 million jobs. So since other countries are saying we're not using your note anymore, they're losing power. So that's to lay people off.
So that's why they were talking about economy, whatever, keeping the businesses here instead of okay.
So what they're trying to say is we need our people to be slaves still. Because they're losing power, because it's all predicated on us. It's all backed on us. That's why they tighten things on our families. Then young men like myself see that they're bombing towers thinking that I need to go fight.
And it's an illusion.
So they put economic pressure on us. We think, well, we don't got a job, the military's paying, we'll go fight. So we're not innocent in this. I got the military tattoos to prove it. I got military ID, all that. But I see how they're doing it now. So now I get to tell you from the horse's mouth. I got out as a sergeant. I'll tell you, I can show you more, all my shit when you come down to class Saturday. I can show you all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know what they're doing. Right? And then they admit it, so it's not even like...
They're hiding.
Yeah. The American economy needs a stable dollar, fixed exchange rates, and money supply controlled by the market, not the government. So when they say money controlled by the market, they're saying money controlled by the people.
And it's just 5 people who are controlling the money.
Yeah. So money controlled by the people is, you have gold, I have gold. I set the value of this at 2 gold coins. Well, he can set the value of it at 4 gold coins.
Right.
You can set it at 6. It's the same thing, but now you're controlling the market. We're controlling the market. That's the difference. Before it's been, well, let me see your credit score before you can get this car. Oh, you got a low credit score? No, you can't get it. That's them controlling the market. Now they're able to control what you can and can't get based on how much notes that they gave you and what score they gave you. And then they're all in cahoots because the Federal Reserve controls the Federal Reserve note. Then every other organization, every other corporation agreed to only use that. It's monopoly. And we're excluded. And they're admitting it. The gold standard puts control of the money supply with the people, the market, instead of the Federal Reserve, the private bank. The gold standard means legal tender defined by and convertible into a certain quantity of gold, meaning it's backed by gold. Under the gold standard, through 1913, the United States economy grew at an annual average of 4%, 1/3 higher than the growth rate since then, and twice the level since 2000. The International Gold Exchange Standard from 1914 to 1971 did not provide for a United States dollar convertible into gold, and therefore helped cause the Great Depression and stagflation. So they just admitted where they caused the Great Depression.
Because they couldn't exchange the dollar was
Because it's not backed by anything.
Yes.
They said, "Oh, cash for gold. You want this stack of
But
paper?
they don't got
Give me your
cash.
gold." Yeah, but that was the trick against the people.
To get the gold.
Yeah, so you got gold, right?
Right.
I'm a private banker trying to control you and your family. Give me this. I'll give you this paper for that. Here, take this paper. See me in gold.
So basically, money you use every day, paper you can spend every day. They give you the-
But it's money that they did have.
Yeah, they took your money. They gave you paper. You gave them money.
And you never seen that gold again.
Yeah. So you took basically a serious diamond ring,
You
give it to
understand?
somebody, for them to give
Yeah,
you
I
paper,
understand.
and
You understand now?
paper that
Yeah.
wasn't
The
worth
con,
it.
the biggest con in that.
Damn, I can't believe it.
But it's not a con because the people agreed to it.
It is a
Because
con.
Not if you agree.
they didn't understand it.
It's not
They were
if you agree.
incompetent. They
They were
didn't know.
incompetent to understand that really that is paper
I would
because
say
a lot of
they
people
did
don't
it
know that America
legally.
before
before
But,
the
that's-
dollar was
that's
the
all
reserve,
It's
the
done,
reserve
get
money.
done legally, but
But
not
it's lost
lawfully.
its value.
So legally, it's saying cash for gold. Give me your gold, I give you cash. That's
Yeah.
legal.
That's legal.
You wasn't swindled. You're an idiot. You
Yeah.
just gave up
You-
your gold.
You said yeah, so it's legal. then.
So, okay, so now,
That's not
okay,
lawful.
we
So,
got
because
a
you
law
didn't
for-
really literally think about it, cash for gold. You didn't really think about paper for gold. You
Yeah.
didn't think about it.
Paper
Because you
that I
never
can
would have
print
thought,
at
you
will.
never had the mindset that there was nothing behind that paper to equal to the gold that you were giving. It was literally just raw paper. Zero paper, zero that you was going to take
Huh?
and
But
just
take gold to the grocery store.
You would back in the day. You would prior to
Now,
1913
people need to get the cash.
because everyone is only accepting that. That's the problem. So when you educate the people, they're like, wait, I don't want this paper anyway. You know what I mean?
Because they had no value.
Except for what you give it.
Exactly.
So once you realize, oh, it has nothing, that unless I give it something, okay, I'll stop using it. The problem is, look how many people in this room. Look how many people need to buy food. So it's not like we're gonna switch to gold tomorrow, you know what I mean? But it's knowing this will help you because they're admitting it. So if anyone's claiming that you owe them anything, you say, well, the so-called government is saying there is no money, so what you talking about? I need to pay you anything. You know what I'm saying? That's student loans, that's electricity bills, that's water bills, that's car payments, that's so-called child support, that's everything that we're dealing with. The Federal Reserve's trickle-down policy of expanding the money supply with no demand for it has enriched the owners of financial assets but endangered the jobs, wages, and savings of blue-collar workers, meaning the people. So it secured the rich and made the poor unsecure. Restoring American middle-class prosperity requires change in monetary policy authorized to Congress in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 5 of the Constitution, meaning they can only coin money. So now they're trying to enforce the Constitution. Even though they're supposed to have been do that, but remember they stopped being government in 1861. So now 2018 they're admitting what they did in 1913. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Section 2. Define the gold in terms of gold. Effective 30 months after the date of enactment of this act, the Secretary of the Treasury shall define the dollar in terms of a fixed weight of gold based on that day's closing market price of gold. And Federal Reserve banks shall make Federal Reserve notes exchangeable with gold at the statutory gold definition of the dollar. Section 3. Disclosure of holding. During the 30-month period following the date of enactment of this act, the United States government shall take timely and responsible steps to disclose all of its holdings of gold, together with contemporaneous report of any United States governmental purchases or sales, thus enhancing the ability of the market and of market participants to arrive at the fixed dollar gold parity in the orderly fashion. Does that make sense? Even though I just messed it all up. So it's saying during this period, the United States is going to disclose how much gold it has, and how much money is going out, so that the people can align themselves to that. You know what I'm saying? So as an example, in China, before China went to straight gold-backed currency, they were putting commercials on TV to prep the people, saying, pretty much brainwashing the people into investing in gold, because gold is real currency. So the government had to tell the people to get gold because it's all predicated on the people. So in a sense, that's what they're saying. But this hasn't been passed yet. This is just a proposal. But even in the proposal, they're still admitting. You know what I'm saying? So instead of waiting for this to be so-called ratified, it's already ratified. Well, it already exists in Title 12, subsection 411 of the United States Code. So if you want to write that down, you'll see that that aligns with this. So it's already in their codes. Title 12, subsection 411. And the reason why this is related is because she discharged the so-called debt because it's not backed by anything. Subsection 411. So she discharged the so-called debt because it's not backed by anything, and they just admitted it. And she's the governor of Rhode Island, so what's the chances of her knowing this? Very high. What's the chances of us knowing this? Almost none. So they can never say, well, we didn't tell the people, because they told you March 22nd, 2018, the day after the New Year they told you. We caused the Great Depression. This isn't backed by anything. So we can't point the fingers at the Europeans if they're telling us, you don't got money, we're controlling everything. And then they're telling you, Title 12, subsection 411, all the debt belongs to us, but then we're the dumbasses who pay the debt. But the only reason why we're paying it is because we're under occupation, and they cut our lights off. Because not enough of us are standing up. That's the only reason why they're able to do what they do. That's where nationality comes into play. Because your nationality determines who you have allegiance to. So if they turn your lights off, they're turning my lights off. So I might want to stand with you. Because if they can do it to you, they'll do it to me. That's where nationality comes in. That's where nationalizing comes in. It's us standing together. Question? What you look at it past
Where do you find that document?
Congress.gov. I have everything written Congress.gov and then look up House Resolution 5404. So it's public information. They don't hide it. They can't hide it. Nothing's hidden. All politicians know it. All mayors, all governors, all so-called activists, all attorneys, all of them. All of them. That's why none of them are in this room, because they already know. Only the people who don't know are seeking the information.
Well, they're living their best life.
They're living their best life.
They ain't going back to
Like, there was a so-called Indian chief who was fighting a law case, and they had it all in the so-called news in Rhode Island, saying, you know, the Indians are saying they don't have to pay the court fee or whatever. So I messaged him, I was like, hey, I seen the court case, it was you versus State of Rhode Island, there's information for you to waive the court fee. And he just disregarded it. So clearly, he didn't want it. So clearly he knows something if you're just gonna you're asking me, how do I discharge something? And I give you the information. But then you're like, oh, don't worry about it. So clearly you're just doing it for show. You know what I mean? That's what they do. They all know. Because it's not about money, it's about your energy. Question. Did you say you're gonna have a bunch of questions? You said it yesterday.
She said that yesterday,
You
Jamal.
said you
All
had them all written
talk, all
down.
talk, no action. All
Yeah.
talk,
Listen to me, girls. Walk at how I'm
all
talking.
talk,
and
no
then you'll
action. You know, she said, I'm gonna write all my questions down for you
Yup.
tomorrow. She
Yup.
didn't even come with her notebook.
listen. Yeah.
Oh,
She don't care.
she don't
No,
care.
I wasn't ready.
She wasn't
Right.
ready.
I
No.
can be honest and say I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready because I woke up like right at the time. It was like 05. I was just like, oh, okay. Worked last night. Okay, I'm going to class.
It's all good.
But see, I'm learning something very great and different today. So that's
Well, the faster y'all learn, the faster there'll be more female teachers, the faster people will learn. Because I think women teach better.
Somebody said Islam was.
Islam, peace.
Tell them what you told us earlier about the female, about the woman, and the mind, and when their mind is in the same place, the children come out.
Oh yeah. So in the Quran, it talks about Mary and Elizabeth being prepared to bring forth the revealers of light, meaning Jesus and John. But in order for the sons to be ready, the women have to know, because the womb is the first schoolroom. Now the Europeans know this. So are you familiar with the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution? No. So it's a female Masonic organization where they wear your crown, they wear the white fez, they have the image of your face, your crescent moon and star representing your womb, and the sword between your head, Meaning the suppression of your mind suppresses your womb, which automatically suppresses us because we're formed in your womb. Because you're the first man. And we're the sons of man. The word man means to think. That's it. It doesn't mean master. We're your sons, period. Right? So the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution, we're the Americans that they were revolting against. When you study Moorish history, you'll see that we had their women in our harems. You know what I'm saying? And we were abusing some of them. So the women decided to revolt against us. So their mindset was, we're tired of those Moorish men abusing us. We're going to revolt against them. So their mind was, be against the Moors. Hate the Moors. So now when they bring their sons, guess what their sons do? They form the KKK. They form the Knights Templars. They become the police. And they do exactly what they're doing to us right now. Because their mothers taught them that. You know what I'm saying? So the mindset of the mother inflicted the child in the womb, and now she's bringing forth her champions to fight us. So since our mothers don't know who they are, they don't know what type of champions they need to bring. So that's the whole point behind educating Mary and Elizabeth, so that their sons know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. But in order for that to happen, you have to know yourself. You have to know which laws apply to you. You have to know who your enemy is. Your enemy is ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing our own culture, not knowing our own science is how we felt. So they'll say, you know, in the Quran it says we started following after the idol gods of Rome or of Europe. You know, idol is not moving. You know what I'm saying? And we know that the word God means to call upon, to invoke, and to call out, or to pour out, which that something is moving. So if we're using the wrong words, you can't cast the right spells, we don't get what we need. So if I say, oh, I want some water, that just means water. Want means lack. Desire water, that means I'm striving to get water. Chances are I'm going to get that water. So I'm calling it, instead of saying I lack it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing as saying blacks want reparations. Well, blacks not a nation, so you can't get it. And that's right in, if you read the Christian Black Codes of 1724, please write that down. Actually, the Christian Black Codes of 1724 and the Willie Lynch letter of 1712. And you'll see exactly what I said. They say the condition of the child shall reflect the condition of the mother. And they said, pay particular attention to the quote-unquote nigger female, because she'll be of use to you later, meaning she'll breed the servants that you need. It says, make this so-called Negro female dependent on the so-called white master. Meaning, get the female on government assistance. Get the female on Section 8 housing. Get the female to worship you. Kick the male out, her protector, and will rule. That's exactly what they're doing.
So you said the Christian Black Codes of 1712 and what else?
Christian Black Codes of 1724.
1724.
And the Willie Lynch letter, or Willie Lynch manual of 1712.
Okay.
And both of them tell you the women is the target. But right now, they show you that it's the men. But it's not. We're just an after effect or subsequent effect of that. It's the woman. Because you're God.
Yes.
You bring us.
Yeah.
You don't come from us. We come from you. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean to bark at you. This is for the men. I'm doing that towards the men, so I'm not facing any of you. The men are fucking stupid. Honor your mother and your father, that thy days be lengthened upon this earth land, the land which the Lord thy God hath given thee. And it's called inheritance. Not inheritance, inheritance. Hers right in it. Even sheik, she, eek. She. It's all a woman. Well, you know, I'm the patriarch, I'm the king. Sit the hell down. Who put the crown on you? Because when the baby is crowning, who put the crown on you? So, please wake up. Please, and get your house in order. Because when you see our Asiatic women, they're working for the European men, they're administrating everything for them, and getting way less pay. But it's not racism, It's genocide. So when y'all wake up and produce men, the men that we need, and the women that we need, because we need more women to create more men. And that is racism, continuing the human species.
So this was in school, this is like in 2010?
Yeah, it says it right on the front. March 22nd, the day after the New Year. Dealing with the sciences of the zodiac and the equinox. Spring. Which, I'm an Aries baby, so you know, fire. Germination, you know, like that stuff.
I had said something about what you were saying one time in class, and I read being into Canada, we always have a conversation on it, and I was explaining to them how it's been a system. For some reason, we didn't. Now that you say it's the woman, we like, oh, okay, you know.
That's why you feel like you're working like dogs and shit.
No, yeah, because but I said
right?
yes, and I said I was like they need to take, and I said it came a point where the system came to kind of introducing the police to the children of your parents, make sure you know, like, basically taking the men out of the house, but people are not realizing it's really at the woman, and I said that it's mainly the woman because you're disciplining, you know, you have to take that protection away to break the woman down because when you don't have that protection, women naturally, we're emotional beings, you know what I'm saying? We feel, that's part of like, I think our power is something that, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, once you break that protective system and you take the sons and the fathers out of the house and you leave daughters, you just it will be a continuous system, and that's why the system is
perpetual. And when you read the Willie Lynch letter, that's exactly what they say. I'm warning you, it gets pretty disgusting, but you know, read it, put it down, then read it again. Willie Lynch letter of 1712. It gets gross. It's explaining everything you said, and you feel it because that's exactly what's going on. So put it down for a second, then pick it back up, and you see exactly what they're doing. And they explain it. They're 1712. Take the mind and leave the body.
I've always said that. I said it's always with it. They're always attacking the conscious and the subconscious. It's always the subconscious. And a lot of us are not realizing that our subconscious are being attacked every day in every form, in every way, in every aspect. And we're really not. We really
Don't realize it.
Yeah.
That's why it works. But once you realize it, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Like even with I love the Avengers movies, and I started to realize like once I figured out the definition of American, one of the various copper tone natives, Captain America is a pale man. So Captain America is always saving the day somehow. You know what I mean? And then when he gets beat up, you feel bad. So that's in your subconscious. So now you idolizing the European again, just like so-called pale-skinned Jesus. It's the same thing. But once you realize what they're doing, it stops working. Thor, yeah. But he's still the pale man, you know what I mean?
Hey boy, Captain America over here.
We're gonna end this live.
Black Panther doing all the good stuff. No one cares. Yeah.
Live.
You know what I mean?
We're all live and talk about this.
And most of the action movies, it's some pale man doing all this cool shit, as if we didn't create karate and all these martial arts and shit like that. Taekwondo? You did?
Yeah.
Is it hard?
It is a little bit, but I just started learning that part of warriors is also learning,
Jamal, you want to end the live?
Oh, I can end it if you want.
Close it out if we're gonna build it off the live. Or...
I mean, building is building. To me, I could be on camera, off camera, it don't matter. I'm just saying whatever I want to say.
Run it, let it run.
Okay. 63.
Yeah, still there. The mind is like.
But that's why the battle is going.